Welcome to The Explainer. Today we're doing something a little bit different and honestly pretty exciting. We are going to deconstruct a highly effective financial advice script, treating it as a live case study. We're diving into exactly how a seemingly average script was transformed into a narrative that literally won't let you click away, just by tapping into pure viewer psychology. And, along the way, we might just learn a financial lesson that could completely change your life. Let's get into it.
$123,000. Right out of the gate, that is the hook. The strategy here is to launch straight in with a massive curiosity gap. Instead of easing in with some long, drawn-out introduction, the script reveals immediately that the habit of waiting until next month to start investing is costing you exactly this much money. Not maybe, definitely. It creates this undeniable instant tension right from the first few seconds.
So let's break down exactly how this script fixes the first major drop-off point. The original draft? It had a really weak hook. It took over 45 seconds to get to the point, relying on comforting phrases like, "Hey, you are not broken." Now, while that's nice to hear, it completely kills the urgency. The improved script tosses that fluffy introduction out the window. Within 15 seconds, it hits you with that specific $123,000 cost of waiting. It injects immediate, quantified tension that basically forces the audience to pay attention.
Seriously though, why do we all click away? Well, we've all bailed on something when a host takes 30 seconds just to ask us to subscribe, right? Standard formulas totally kill urgency. Viewers get bored. That is exactly why this section was rewritten to bypass all that standard intro baggage. It immediately challenges the viewer, and that keeps them locked in for the incredibly critical next 90 seconds.
And exactly 90 seconds in, boom. The script delivers its first major data reveal, and it's a shocking one. $12,500. That is the median amount that a 30-year-old in the United States currently has invested in retirement accounts. Take a second to really let that sink in. Notice I didn't say saved, I said invested. Using this highly specific, grounded number shocks the viewer into reevaluating their own financial position right then and there.
And this is brilliant because it highlights a trap we fall into all the time. If you go and look up the average amount a 30-year-old has invested, you'll probably see a number around $47,000. But averages are super deceptive. They get heavily skewed by the top 10% of earners. That's why using the median, the actual normal person sitting dead in the middle of the population, is so incredibly effective. That person only has $12,500. It grounds the narrative in actual reality, so you don't get lulled into a false sense of security.
Then the script leans into some tough empathy. It hits us with an uncomfortable truth to validate the viewer's frustration. Back in 1989, if you adjust for inflation, the typical 30-year-old had the equivalent of $28,000 invested. That means today's 30-year-old has experienced a 55% decline. Now, modern hurdles, crushing housing costs, massive student debt, those are totally valid reasons. But here's where the narrative pivots. It warns us that if we just accept these realities as our excuse, we stop controlling the leverage points we actually still have.
Enter a totally brilliant technique, the pattern interrupt. To keep someone engaged, you literally have to reset their attention every 90 seconds. How do you do that? By making a counterintuitive claim with a direct question. What if I told you someone making $50K starting at 30 beats someone making $80K starting at 35? The idea that someone making far less money can actually beat a higher earner simply by starting 5 years earlier challenges everything we assume about wealth. It breaks our assumptions and pulls us right back in.
Let's look at the actual math behind that claim, because this is the crucial point. We've got starter A. They begin at age 30, investing just $200 a month with a 7% return. By 65, they have $412,000. Now, starter B waits just 5 years, starting at 35, doing the exact same thing, $200 a month, 7% return. They end up with $289,000. Think about that. A mere 5-year delay with the exact same monthly contribution creates a massive, life-altering $123,000 gap.
And then the script drives it home with an absolute gut punch of a quote. You don't lose $123,000 by making a bad investment. You lose it by waiting 5 years to start. It perfectly emphasizes this massive concept. Time isn't just a factor in investing. It is the determining factor. It completely reframes investing. It's no longer this scary test you have to study for. It's literally just a habit you build. Now, this next part is super interesting. The narrative seamlessly shifts into cognitive reframing by introducing temporal discounting. This shows the audience that their reluctance to invest isn't some personal moral failure. It's a biological bug. Our caveman brains are literally hardwired to value $200 in our pocket today way more than $2,000 a few decades from now. By explaining this, the script relieves all that viewer guilt.
empowering them to actually outsmart their own biology.
Right about now, you're probably yelling at your screen, "Yeah, but I have debt." The script knows this, so it deploys another meta pattern interrupt to tackle that exact excuse head-on. Think about it. Your credit card charges 24% interest, but your employer offers a 401k match that equals a 100% return. Which one do you choose? Mathematically, skipping an employer match to pay down debt is literally turning down free money and a guaranteed 100% return. Okay, but we don't want to leave anyone overwhelmed, so the script briefly outlines a super practical, nuanced flowchart. First step, getting your employer match is non-negotiable. Free money. Then, you throw your extra dollars at high-interest debt. We're talking anything over 15% APR. Once that high-interest debt is gone, you seamlessly redirect those exact same payments straight into investing. And if you need a psychological win, use the debt snowball method for your smaller, lower-interest debts to build momentum. Clear, simple, indisputable.
Debt question settled? Next, we hit the 3 massive psychological obstacles that stop people dead in their tracks. I don't have enough money, I don't understand it, and what if I lose my money? The really clever move here is pointing out that 2 of these are outright lies we tell ourselves, and the third is just a misplaced protection mechanism. Let's completely dismantle those first 2 obstacles right now. Don't think you have enough to start. Brokerages today have $0 minimums and fractional shares. You can start with literally $5. Don't understand enough? You don't need to. Buying a simple total market index fund completely defeats the paralysis of complexity. The uncomfortable truth here is that the barrier isn't money or knowledge. The barrier is the decision. Choosing to delay is actually making a very real decision not to invest.
So what about that third obstacle, the fear of losing it all? This is that misplaced protection mechanism. The script completely reframes the risk. Look, if you're investing for a retirement that is 35 years away, short-term market drops are not your actual risk. Back in 2008, the market dropped 50%. Horrifying, right? If you panicked and sold, you lost. But if you literally did nothing and just held on, by 2026, you'd be up 400%. The real risks are inflation eating your cash and you panicking during a crash.
So, having systematically crushed every excuse and held our attention with pattern interrupts, we reach the climax. It's highly actionable and sequence-driven. 4 completely low-friction steps you can take in the next 10 minutes. 1. Increase your contributions by just 1%. 2. Route half of any unexpected cash, like a bonus, directly to investments. 3. Pick one simple index or target date fund. 4. Text a friend right now to lock in your accountability. Done.
Every single one of those steps really summarizes the core philosophy of this highly optimized script. Complexity is the enemy of execution. We are always tricking ourselves into thinking we need some master-level elaborate strategy to be successful. But the truth? The people with the most money aren't sitting at 6 computer monitors picking individual stocks. They are buying a slice of the entire market, automating it, and going to sleep.
As the script winds down, notice what it doesn't do. It doesn't ask you to become a financial genius overnight. It just reiterates that building wealth is entirely about starting before you feel completely ready. It's about taking that vague idea of someday and turning it into a concrete action today. You don't need to have it all figured out. You just need to figure out the next right step. Because that is exactly how you bridge the gap between having $12,500 and $125,000.
Bringing it all together, we've seen how structuring a narrative to balance shocking data with genuine psychological empathy holds our attention. It is a brilliant masterclass in communication wrapped up in an absolutely vital financial lesson. So I'll leave you with this. Knowing the cognitive biases that are fighting against you and the literal $1,230,000 cost of waiting, are you going to choose the sturdy oak tree over the quick bloom today? What is the one small change you're going to make right now?